Hi, welcome back to the world of work. This is the Democratic Alliance Labour Report, Friday afternoon, the 14th of January 2022. I've had a bit of a break, I've been away, I've had some rest and recreation, and so thank you for tuning in once again to the Labour Report and welcome back to the world of work. Following on from almost now 2 years of the pandemic and the destructive lockdowns that we've been experiencing, I'm not sure why government actually is still enforcing a lockdown. There's absolutely no reason, but because of these lockdowns, the world of work has taken a knock. We've also seen that before we even went into the pandemic, we had the worst unemployment record in the world, and of course one of the worst productivity records in the world in South Africa. Now, of course, we then see, near the end of 21, the riots that took place. I have a very good reason to say that I believe the riots were because people were upset, people were unemployed. Poverty is deep-seated. So we saw that in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. What did it do? It created more unemployment, more problems, more issues. And so things didn't get better, they got worse. Obviously, we were then woken up in the new year to a big bang. Parliament went up in smoke. Probably one of the most iconic buildings in the country have been destroyed. I'm not going to spend some time today talking about it, but what I am going to talk about today is that the many things that happened in the Parliament over these last few months have been very destructive. So thank you for tuning in. It's Michael Bagrain. I am the DA Labour spokesperson, and I appreciate you tuning in and listening to this report. Obviously the fire has shown government to be grossly negligent. One can imagine how much was destroyed. One can imagine the records, paintings, carpets, furniture, computers, you name it. They say there's about R1 billion worth of destruction, but that doesn't take into account the full contents of what has been destroyed. It's going to take years for us to get back there. And we've obviously also seen the first part of the Zondo report, almost 1,000 pages. I haven't had a chance to read, but I've read bits and pieces of it. I've read a précis. It's absolutely horrific, absolutely horrific. There are going to be thousands and thousands of pages of this report, and literally hundreds of ANC stalwarts, and the party itself, the ANC itself, has been fingered. We look forward to those individuals being charged, prosecuted, and jailed. I think this is going to take years and years, probably 20 years of prosecution before we can see the end of this. I don't think the authorities have the wherewithal to pursue all of it. Hopefully they will bring in civil society to help them. There have been institutions, business institutions who have offered to help. And we hopefully will get some prosecutions going in 2022. I don't think that many, but at least let's get an anecdotal part of some prosecutions going. The theft and destruction has been rife. And it's been right through the civil service and right through the politicians. Every single incident we've seen needs to be prosecuted. And I'm looking forward to the prosecutions in this, and hopefully people will come forward and help, as I said. And then, of course, we've had a bombshell, and I can only refer to it as a bombshell. There's been enormously good work done by the Democratic Alliance in trying to get the minutes of the Cadre Deployment Committee. Now, let me explain what this is. The ANC, our governing party, in their wisdom, have decided to bring about some sort of hegemonic control to the country. In other words, they want to take control of every sphere, every facet of life that they can do. I know that obviously helps them with state capture, and it's shown that it has helped them with state capture, and that's made it easier to steal, to plunder, and to destroy. It's made it easier, this Cadre Deployment Committee. What it is, it's a committee made up of ANC stalwarts, politicians, ministers, deputy ministers, high-ranking individuals, even some individuals in the civil service. And they get this committee together, and whenever there's a job going for a state-owned enterprise, for a public service, local, provincial, national government, any jobs that are valuable. And remember, these entities are the biggest employers in South Africa. Local governments, massive employer. Provincial governments, massive employer. And national government, massive employer. In fact, they're the biggest. Now, when you want to get a job in one of these entities, in one of these spheres, or in a local government job, except, I must tell you, the Western Province, that's been left out, thankfully, because of the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance would never practice something as pernicious as this. So what's happened is that committee sits, and as soon as jobs are available or have to be filled, this committee sits and puts forward names of people who are card-carrying members of the ANC. Just think about this carefully. In other words, you're not put forward because you're capable of doing the job, or you can do the job, or you want to do the job. You put forward because you're a card-carrying member. In other words, they can trust you to do their bidding. The ANC want people in there that they can then manipulate into those jobs, whether it be to give you jobs in turn, whether it makes it easier to steal, whatever the reason is, they want to put people in. So instead of choosing people for a job, the best person for the job, and instead of choosing them because they can do the job, you choose them because they are members of the ANC. And this committee itself has kept minutes. Brazenly, they've kept minutes. They didn't want to give out the minutes, and some of these minutes were actually handed to the Zondo Commission. And of course, what happened was Dr. Leon Schreiber, an MP of the DA, applied to the Zondo Commission for these minutes and was given a few years. Not the whole lot, but only a few years. And what has come out has been absolutely devastating. Some fantastic jobs have gone to ANC cadres because of this committee. Not because they're the best applicants, not because they can do the job, probably can't. And in fact, if they can't, even better, because then you can really steal. And so what's happened now is there are thousands and thousands of jobs that have been handed out in South Africa in the last 20 years to cadres, because they've been deployed into those jobs. Now, just think about it from a labor law point of view. Think about what can happen. Let's say you were one of the applicants to one of those jobs, and you happen not to be a card-carrying member of the ANC, the governing party. Your chances of getting the job were nil. So what would have happened is they had employed someone else in that job, and you didn't get it, and you didn't get the job, and you moved on. Now when you look at it and you think about it, you can see why you didn't get the job. Now there's a claim, because under the employment equity legislation in South Africa and under our constitution, you have a right to fair labor practice. Having that right, and now finding out that someone might have been appointed because of their card-carrying membership of a political party, means that you've been unfairly discriminated, which means that you can now claim at the CCMA, Bargaining Council, Labour Court, you have a claim for an unfair labour practice, for discrimination. You've been discriminated against. And so the message out there is to everyone, if you've been discriminated against, then you have a claim. And your claim time only runs from the minute you found out that there was discrimination. You weren't to know that this Cadre Deployment Committee actually appointed someone in your stead, and without even looking at your qualifications. You missed one qualification, and that is you weren't a member of the governing party, a stalwart of the governing party. So you do have a claim. I have had a few people phone me already to discuss that. So it looks like there's going to be lots of claims in the future. The reality is the employment equity legislation has been trod upon. The ANC doesn't care about labour law. Why the trade unions haven't been shouting, I don't know. But there you have it. So thank you for listening to me today. It's Michael Bagram, Friday afternoon, the 14th of January 2022. I really appreciate it.